Okay, hi everyone, my name is Patrick and I'm very glad that you tuned in today. It's been a while since my last video, sorry for that. I was kind of busy with university stuff and but there's a lot going on in Cardano recently and yeah, the price has gone up tremendously. It's actually kind of insane. And today is oh, it's Sunday already. So tomorrow, a big thing will happen in the Cardano ecosystem. The Merry hard fork will be going live, which is actually really important and amazing. And that's why I'm making this video today to talk a little bit about Merry, about Gogen, about tokens, and all that stuff. And yeah, let's switch over the screen real quickly. The first thing I want to talk about is, the timeline that you probably all know by now. So let's revamp. We've been in the Byron era, the foundational era, right? And then we transitioned over to the Shelley era, which is the era that we're currently in, which is like decentralization and stake pools and all that stuff. And now the next step is the Gogen era. And Gogen is really important because Gogen is about smart contracts. So it's actually amazingly exciting because this is the era that will allow developers like myself or other developers to actually build stuff on Cardano. So the hype is big for this one. And yeah, and the Merry hard fork is coming up, which is the second big milestone in this era. I've opened this Gogen program plan here in this tab, and we don't have to go through all of this. This is kind of boring, to be honest, if you're not super interested. If you're interested, just check it out and read through it. The two main important things to focus on in this timeline are these two red lines here. Oh, you can't see my mouse cursor, sorry, you can only see it when I click. Oh no, you can see it actually. Oh wow, I think I changed it at some point. Okay, so here, this first line and here the second line. And basically, the Gogen rollout plan happens in 3 phases, right? So phase 1 was right here at the beginning, I believe at least, which is basically the first hard fork for Gogen. That one was called Allegra, and it was all about metadata, right? And you basically need to have metadata in the transactions in Cardano to build all the stuff about smart contracts and tokens and all that. It all depends on the metadata. And so that was really important. That was the first hard fork that happened right here. And now the second hard fork is coming up, which is the Merry hard fork, which is gonna happen tomorrow. And that hard fork is going to implement native tokens into Cardano, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about what that means in a bit. And then the third hard fork, which is gonna be like the last hard fork for Gogen, after that has been done, we are gonna be officially in the Gogen era. That's gonna be the Alonso hard fork, I believe. I'm not quite sure if it's really called Alonso, but I think so. And yeah, the Alonso hard fork is gonna be like the final step, and it's gonna allow smart contracts and Plutus and code on the blockchain, right? All that super important and fun stuff. And yeah, so that's something to look out for, definitely. And yeah, so maybe if you don't know what a hard fork is, a hard fork is basically just a really big update which is backwards incompatible, right? So after the Alonso hard fork, all the nodes, all the stake pools, all that stuff had to be updated, and they couldn't interact with the with the old nodes, basically. So the hard forks are like really intensive updates. That's basically all a hard fork is. And yeah, we have 3 hard forks, so 3 really big updates. And Cardano is actually using a technology called hard fork Combinator, and it's just a way of ensuring that the hard forks go about very smoothly. You don't even realize that a hard fork is going on if you're just a normal user. The stake pools, like myself, we had to update our nodes, of course, and all that stuff, but it's pretty smooth, and I think nobody should really realize that a hard fork even happened in the perfect case. And that's something that's very unique to Cardano. No other blockchain is using that at the moment. Okay, so yeah, we talked about the hard forks. First hard fork, metadata. Second hard fork, tokens, right? So what are tokens? I have another tab here in my browser. Tokens are really interesting because they're not very well defined, right? So we all know we have cryptocurrencies and we have tokens, and the thing is, cryptocurrencies always rely on a blockchain. So a blockchain like Cardano has its cryptocurrency called ADA, right? And then Bitcoin has Bitcoin, and Ethereum has Ethereum, right? And these are normal cryptocurrencies. And then the tokens, on the other hand, the tokens are issued on the blockchain, right? So they're not the native currency of the blockchain, but they are something that has been built on top of the blockchain. So the Ethereum blockchain obviously has the most tokens. They have some very famous tokens, and a lot of tokens are being used for ICOs, right? For crowdfunding, basically. And tokens can, they can represent many different things. For example, they could represent a way of paying for utility, right? So if I have a really cool program, a really cool decentralized app, and I want someone else to be able to use this app, I could issue a token, and then the people could pay using this token to actually access the decentralized app. So an example for that would be, Chainlink. Actually, Chainlink is about having oracles. So like oracles, what are oracles? It's kind of hard to explain all of this at once, right? Oracles are basically a way to provide smart contracts with data from the outside world in a very secure way, right? So that you can always verify that this data is correct. And to basically pay for these oracles, you would have to use the Chainlink token. And I think Chainlink is actually issued on Ethereum, but I'm not completely sure about that. But that's what CoinMarketCap says at the moment, so who knows? And yeah, and tokens can also, stand for other things. Like they could represent real life value. They could basically represent a house, or I don't know, art. NFTs are very, very popular at the moment, so non-fungible tokens for art and for music and all that stuff. Or they could theoretically represent anything. So it's not very clearly defined what tokens are, right? And if we take a look at the CoinMarketCap lists, or list of all tokens which are currently out, you can see there's quite a lot here. And the most famous one is actually the Tether Token, which has been issued on Ethereum. I actually didn't know that before. And I mean, we all know Tether. Oh my god, it's so hard to speak. It's so hard to say that as a German, sorry. And yeah, and it's a stable coin, so the goal of it is to always represent the value of $1 and not like differ in value too much. And so you could issue stable coins as a token. You could issue many other things. So Chainlink is here, number 2, obviously. Then another stable coin, the USD coin. Then Uniswap, and many more. BitTorrent, Decentraland token, Golem, which is for Golem is for a token to pay for decentralized rendering for 3D models and stuff like that. So there are many tokens, and it makes a lot of sense to build a token for your decentralized application. And yeah, so most of these tokens have been built on Ethereum, as you can see. Like some of them are on Tron, but very few. One is on Binance. Oh wow, I didn't know that Binance had tokens. Tron, Neo, yeah. So there are many blockchains which have issued some tokens, but Ethereum is definitely like number one. And most of these tokens have been built using this ERC20 token standard. This is a standard which has been issued by Vitalik, and it's basically a standard representation of what a token would look like in a smart contract. So if I wanted to make a new token, like the Patrick coin, I don't know, the Babel coin. Oh wow, Babel coin is a good idea actually. I have to think about it. So if I wanted to issue the Babel coin, I could simply use the standard, which is implemented in Solidity, the programming language for Ethereum, and then I would like change the code a little bit and implement from this standard, and then I could offer my own token, the Babel coin. And it's super easy to do that as a programmer, and it's the reason why so many cryptocurrencies or tokens exist. And it has really, changed the cryptocurrency landscape a lot. The second really important token standard is the ERC 721 token, which is the standard, which is the standard for non-fungible tokens. So it's basically, the term non-fungible token is very popular at the moment. NFTs, I'm sure you've heard of it. It basically just stands for tokens which are not fungible. I mean, it's very self-explanatory. Which are not interchangeable, I guess, with the other tokens. So I could issue an NFT for example, some art piece that I made, or some piece of music, or my house, or my car, all that stuff basically, and it could represent a real life value, or it could represent an online value, or intellectual property, all that stuff basically. And yeah, most of the tokens issued are these two standards, and they are extremely important. And now they're coming to Cardano, which is really fun. So Cardano is taking a slightly different approach to tokens. So I've showed you these two standards, like ERC20, ERC 721, sorry, and they are basically just code in Solidity that other programmers can use, and then use this code to build their own tokens. And Cardano is taking a different approach, because Cardano realized, okay, tokens are super important, right? And it doesn't make sense to have tokens just as a part of a smart contract, as a part of a code. So Cardano decided to build native tokens on top of their blockchain. And that's really interesting, because there's no other blockchain at the moment which is doing that. And the idea is that every token issued on Cardano has the same utility as ADA. So, like the transactions that you do with these tokens can be done in the exact same way as you would do it with ADA, and they will be the tokens will be available in Daedalus and in Yoroi, and it's gonna behave the exact same way. And you could even bundle transactions, so you could send ADA and tokens and other tokens in one big transaction, and then pay for the transaction fees in one transaction, only once basically. And yeah, this has tremendous benefits. So let's look here. I've made some notes. Yeah, so the most important benefit, to be honest, is the transaction fee, because if you pay for a smart contract on Ethereum, you pay more because you have to execute the smart contract. So you pay more for the token itself than you would pay for a normal ETH transaction, right? And in Cardano, because the tokens are behaving exactly the same way as ADA, you would pay the same transaction fee, obviously. So that's huge. And yeah, and for programmers, this is also extremely interesting, because basically I don't have to program a single line of code, because I can simply just go and create my token via a command line tool or via a user interface. So yeah, IOG is publishing this command line tool. I think this is already out, and then they want to build a token builder, which is not out yet, as far as I know. I think there's a really cool screenshot here. So it would be super easy for me to issue my own token. Could simply use this interface, enter the token name, enter a symbol, enter the amount I want to create, and create the token. That's absolutely amazing, and that was not possible in any other blockchain so far. And yeah, and then here's a screenshot from Daedalus. So if I were to issue a token, I could simply do that, and then it would be displayed right in Daedalus, right? So you can see here Darko's token or Tim's token, and I can send them in the transactions, and that's really really awesome. And yeah, they also have this really nice timeline of a token, basically. So I could define the policy here, then I would mint the tokens, like create them, then I would receive the tokens, obviously, and then I could store them in the wallet and use them for whatever I want. Use them for an exchange and trade them, or use them for some decentralized app or whatever, right? Yeah. So that's coming tomorrow, as I said. And it's gonna change a lot, because now, for the first time ever, we're like the programmers and the developers interested in Cardano will be able to issue our own tokens. So it's gonna be a token explosion in the next months. A lot of tokens are gonna switch from Ethereum or other blockchains to Cardano. And IOG is actually building a ERC20 converter, which makes it extremely easy for these projects to switch over to Cardano. They can simply use their Solidity ERC20 code, take it into this converter, press the button convert, and then it's converted and it's on Cardano, which is amazing, obviously. And yeah, if you want to create a new token, you can simply go and build your own token, and it's gonna be super fast, super cool. And there are going to be many tokens. Most of them, of course, totally useless because it's very easy to create them. I think it's quite expensive, to be honest, but I'm sure there will be many like fun tokens or useless tokens. But some of them are gonna be really important and really like used for dApps and used for smart contracts, and are gonna be really fun to work with, I believe. And in addition to all this, what I've just told you, IOG recently announced the Babel fees, which is a fantastic name for fees. I wish they would pay them directly to my stake pool, the Pool of Babel, as you know, hopefully know. I was very happy about this announcement. And the Babel fees are extremely interesting, and they are very that's a huge announcement. Honestly, that's something that no other blockchain offers, and it's gonna change the game a lot. And I'm gonna explain to you right now what exactly the Babel fees are. So basically, if you create a token, right, the problem is how do you use the token? Like if I want to create my token Babel token, to another person, to like my friend or something, I would have to pay transaction fees, of course, because for every transaction on the Cardano blockchain, I have to pay transaction fees. So do I have to pay these transaction fees in ADA, or would I pay them in the token, right? So that's a very interesting question, because if I build a decentralized app, I don't really want the people to have to pay in ADA. I want to give the people like some tokens, or they buy the tokens themselves, and then they can use only these tokens to interact with my decentralized application, right? So that's very interesting. And until recently, it was the case that it looked like we had to pay the transaction fees in ADA, which makes a lot of sense because the currency, like the value of ADA is very stable, right? And everybody wants ADA, and you can, like, the stake pool operators benefit from people paying the transaction fees in ADA. And like the problem would be if I could pay in like my random token that I created, which has absolutely zero value because nobody cares about the token, then I would pay like a lot of transaction fees, and then the stake pool operators and the delegators would end up with like useless tokens, which nobody really wants. And now IOG came out with the Babel Fee Concept, which is very, very interesting because it's a concept of how to pay for the transaction fees with your token. And the idea is basically that we have a stake pool as a sort of exchange for the token, right? So I would try to send my my transaction in my Babel token, or Babel is maybe not a good name because the fees are called Babel fees. So my Patrick token, right? And I want to pay the transaction fees in my Patrick token. And then if a stake pool decides to accept these Patrick tokens as transaction fees, I could actually send this transaction. And if no stake pool decides to accept these transaction fees, I would have to pay ADA. So basically every stake pool decides for themselves which tokens they accept and which tokens they don't accept. And so basically, yeah, it's kind of like a mini exchange, like a mini decentralized exchange in all the stake pools. And it's an amazing solution because it combines all the good things about accepting tokens as a payment, because as a stake pool operator, I'm very interested in accepting tokens for transaction fees because of course I want to earn some tokens, and maybe some of the tokens have real value gains, right? So I would be dumb to not accept a token like Chainlink, for example, if it was on Cardano. But I also don't want to accept every token, so I can simply choose which tokens I want to accept. And yeah, that's gonna come. That's gonna be amazing. That's gonna be absolutely incredible, actually. I'm very hyped for that. I'm also very hyped for the name, obviously. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I hope you understood a little bit about what I just told you. I think I explained it maybe a little bit confusing, but I'm guessing that you learned at least something. Yeah, I have had this tab open, but I don't really care about this tab. Yeah, so to recap, Merry hard fork is coming tomorrow. Tokens are coming tomorrow. Tokens can be used for transaction fees, which is awesome. In the future, at least, this isn't implemented right at the beginning, I think. So it's gonna take a little while until the Babel fees are out. And then the next hard fork is gonna come in second quarter of 2021. So the Alonso hard fork, which is gonna enable smart contracts, and after that we're done and we're in the Gogen Era, and that's gonna be the most interesting era in the near future, because that's gonna basically decide if Cardano lives or dies, to be honest. Because if the developers come and if enough people build on Cardano and if enough cool projects get built on Cardano, Cardano is gonna explode and become extremely utility friendly and extremely valuable to many people around the world. And if nobody builds anything, that, well, then I mean, we kind of lost. But I believe that many people are gonna build products on Cardano, and I'm very interested to see to see what's gonna be built in the next few months. So I guess that was it. Very, I don't know. Oh, I just wanted to say it was very short, but it was over 20 minutes. Somehow I always end up talking too much. But if you had fun and if it was somehow interesting, please consider staking your ADA on the Pool of Babel. Just simply type Babel in your ROI wallet or in your Daedalus wallet or whatever wallet you use. ADA Lite, I guess. And stake on Babel. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.